To another episode of Title Talk. I'm Luke Glanton, here with our host, Bryson Rubin. Today on the show, Kayshon Boutte is no longer a Patriot. He is a Houston Texan. He is with his son, Derek Stingley Jr. We talk about the wide receivers, and Bryson and I talk about our trip to Eagles Patriots joint practices, and we talk about how terrible Eagles fans are in person. With that said, Bryson, how are you doing?
I'm actually doing really good. Today I was mowing my lawn today, so I'm outside mowing the lawn and all of a sudden on my phone I see what's going on and next thing you know, Savage Boston is messaging me and he's like, "Come on the pod, let's go talk about Booty. Come on, let's go." And I'm like, "Okay." So I literally hop off my mower. I walk inside, throw my stuff on, and I really didn't even have time. But luckily for us, we had been talking about this since literally, March, personally on the timeline and on the podcast all the time. So we were fully prepared for this. And, one thing that Savage actually hit on that we didn't hit on, which I feel really not so smart about, he's like, man, Booty was left out of the preseason game, and that should have been clear to a lot of us that this is what's going to happen based on that. And I was like, "Oh man, you're actually that's a good take. You're actually really right about that." And so therefore, I was upset because we were watching, and maybe we can just get right into it. But before we talk about everything, we were watching the practices, and we actually were talking to each other, and we were like, "Man, it's so weird." Matt Collins is Luke's guy, but he's playing on more of the first team than Booty is. And then like Booty kind of becomes an afterthought this week, which no one talks about, which is interesting to me. Like when Booty has good plays, it always like goes viral where everyone sees him. But I love Kayshawn, a friend of the show, but he really wasn't in the mix this week. And not only that, but he was like on the second, third team sometimes. And so we were talking about, we're like, this is a little strange. We said this means, this is it. I think a couple of days ago, I actually had a tweet and I was like, it was really weird because sometimes there was like Matt Collins and AJ Brown sets, Matt Collins and Dobbs sets. And people were saying, they were like, well, it's because Matt Collins is a better blocker. And I was like, I don't really think you understand. And it's
No.
really silly, but you actually do actually have to watch the practice in person to like get it. And just, it's not that hard to see that Matt Collins can just do like absolutely anything. And it's crazy to say that because he's Matt Collins, but the team really likes Matt Collins. So that was our tip for us to be like, yeah, this is a little bit more than, everything. But truly, personally, I was thinking that this trade maybe would not occur until like the trade deadline. And, maybe it would, but Savage had the good take. We should have been tipped off to this, man. We were just, we were utterly blindsided, even though we weren't.
Yeah, and like you mentioned in practice, we're going to get into this. I think it's kind of important to talk about what happens now with no Booty on the team. But in practice, and I tweeted about this as well. Obviously, AJ Brown was far and away better than Kayshon Boutte, but Romeo Dobbs was far and away better than Kayshon Boutte in practice. Mac Hollins was legitimately like if I just got plopped onto that practice field and never really followed football and didn't know Mac Hollins was 33 and like a journeyman, I would say like that guy is a star. Like he was so good. He was always open, which is kind of crazy. And then Pop Douglas was obviously like he's like a preseason star all the time, but he was really good. He wasn't really playing in preseason. Also, that kind of lets you know where he stands with the team. And Kayshon Boutte, and when in practice, I kind of just see what I see in the games, which is for the most part, like he is great at those combat catches. Like if it's thrown in his hands, he'll catch it, and that just goes to show it. Drake, he's a product of Drake May. Really, I mean, he's going to be okay with the Texans. I don't think he's going to be as good, but in practice, he was just covered. And Drake May just hit him square in the hands every time. And Kayshon Boutte, to his credit, catches those balls. But that's kind of just who he is. And that's okay. I mean, Drake May is so phenomenal that he can almost make any wide receiver work, right? But he was just outclassed by four or five different guys. I didn't even mention Kyle Williams. So he might not have been better than Kyle Williams really in practice, except for some certain reps. But at least Kyle Williams gets a little bit of separation, especially at the top of his routes. So I'm not surprised at all. And like you guys discussed earlier, it should have been tipped off, kind of obvious what was happening yesterday or
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, exactly. And for those of you who don't know, or just tuning in, or just listen to the podcast, or maybe you just follow us on X.com, what we said was in March, we were like, you know what? We all knew. I was writing articles about AJ Brown last year, and it wasn't just fan fiction. To my credit, I heard this today. Like, some people are kingmakers, and it was like, to my credit, last year, a lot of the things that we said, a lot of the things that we said on this podcast, a lot of things that I said, it came true. A lot of that stuff did actually come true. One of those was AJ Brown. We talked about it. So when March came around, we all were talking, and I was like, dude, this is over for Kayshon Boutte. He's going to be gone. And people were like, people cope. They just will immediately cope, and they were like, no, you don't understand. Like, he's just, and you try not to discredit the guy as you're trying to explain to people what's actually happening. But after free agency, what you see is they replace Boutte with AJ Brown, and then they bring in Dobbs. And so people are saying to me today, like, they have no second wide receiver. And it's like, that's insane. It's even more insane people that are like, just play Dobbs in the slot. We'll get into that. But the timeline is, so we see that. And around June or something, after the A.J. Brown trade, people were like, why would we trade Kayshon Boutte? And I was like, well, you trade Kayshon Boutte because he wants a trade. He's in the final year of his contract. These are human beings, and he wants to get paid. And the Patriots are the type of organization to honor something like that, especially you've heard them say he's been such a professional, and that's the reason why they're willing to work with him. People maybe don't like that, but I'm going to explain to you why that's probably not going to matter, barring some crazy injury. And I said, hey, look, he wants to get paid. The Patriots want him there. He wants to be a Patriot. Clearly, they have replaced him, and everyone knows that. If you're smart, you see Dobbs, you see Brown. Those are the outside routes, not to mention Diggs played like 52% of the snaps. So now you're lowering it far more. And because I had this long thought out take about it, Boutte messages me. He's like, yeah, this is what's going on basically. And I was like, I know. Well, I hope everything works out for you. And I really do generally hope everything works out for you. But the second portion of that is when you watch these practices, it's like Luke is saying, we love Kayshon. He's awesome, but he's kind of the backup to a backup and another backup. Like Mac Hollins, you look at the catches, you look at the yards. I get it. He's not as young, he's not as flashy, but he's really all over the field. He can block, which I don't particularly care about that much, but like the yards are the same. He showed up in the Super Bowl. He's just one of those solid players. And really you need to ask yourself this question. Like, if you're angry about it, which I get because he's a fan favorite, right? Like I said on Twitter today, if the Patriots win a Super Bowl, they should give this guy a ring because he's such a fan favorite and he's an awesome guy. I think they really should do that, by the way. But if you look at Kayshon Boutte, you think, is he closer to A.J. Brown in skill or is he closer to Mac Hollins in skill? And if you really think about it that way, it's not so offensive because he actually is closer to Mac Hollins in skill. And that's not an insult, by the way. If you go to any of these practices like Luke's saying, and you watch Mac Hollins, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy just does everything. It's insane. He just gets open, he catches the ball. He's got one-handed catches. He's a fan favorite. So really, you shouldn't be that offended. And then if you're a Kyle Williams fan, you should really be thinking, they've said it's going to be opened up for Kyle Williams. So now he's going to get his opportunities, I think. So we'll see what that happens. But you may get the Kyle Williams opportunities you'd love to see because I think they're similar deep threats, right? I really do think in my heart they're similar deep threats. It's all a matter of Kyle putting together, but you have that and you have Hollins. So unless there's like some injury.
Efton Chisholm.
Okay, yeah, he's in the slot, bro. He's in the slot with Pop.
Yeah.
But yeah, unless there's some crazy injury, the Patriots are just fine. I know you guys don't understand this, but trust me, Dobbs is so huge. Like it's unfathomable how big this guy. I really didn't know either. I'm serious.
He looks small. He honestly looks small on the Packers, and I think it's because of the helmet.
He seriously, that's what me and Savage talked about. He looks so small, but when you look at him in person and then you watch him play in person, he was mossing everybody. Throws downfield moss. I mean, he might as well. He's like Booty, but taller, I think, and he's probably gonna be a little bit better. He gets the May bump, which Booty has been privy to. So,
Yeah.
if you're a fan, you really should not worry so much about the Booty trade. Just move on and just be thankful. You have Dobbs, you have Brown, you have Kyle Williams. The depth it's fine. It's great.
Can we just like think about where like how far we've come as a fan base when it comes to wide receivers on this team? Because they are so 3 years ago, I mean even 2 years ago, it was just like seven Kayshawn Booties. And now like the Kayshawn Booties are our wide receiver fours, and it's pretty clear that the wide receiver one and two are just like a step above those guys. We had just had seven of those guys. And now we have AJ Brown, we have Romeo Dobbs, and then whoever wants to fill in as wide receiver 3 and 4 and come in and out, they're all very good. Like now their roles actually make sense. Nobody is cosplaying as wide receiver 1 in this offense. Nobody's even really cosplaying as wide receiver 2 in this offense. And now the guys who are not no longer going to be getting covered by Quinyon Mitchell, they're going to be getting covered by cornerback 3. And they have like 3 or 4 of those guys who can beat cornerback 3 consistently. So they're just in such a better position that they have been in since like 2017, maybe. I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm actually going to read this tweet someone just tweeted to me because it's a really it sums
Is this
up.
is this a good tweet or a bad tweet? Like you're putting them on blast, or you agree with
No,
them?
no. This is a friend of mine. I can't say their
Okay.
at probably because we'll get banned everywhere, but it says, I'm not feeling great about this team. It says defense doesn't look better. AJ will be double teamed every game. Dobbs and Hollins aren't wearing anyone. It's like, okay, yeah, I get like maybe feeling bad because your favorite player or someone's favorite player just left, but I'm telling you, Dobbs is a better player. If we went around the league, and this is how you know he's a better player, because Sean Booty was shot forever. This is our friend, right? He was shot forever. He ended up getting traded for a linebacker safety hybrid who our friend Dre likes a lot, and like a 7th round conditional pick. Okay, so that tells you what the NFL thinks. So if you're a Patriots fan, your opinion of Kashawn Booty, you all are either severely right and the whole entire world is wrong, or you're wrong and the whole entire world is right. And the odds of it's you is very slim, I might add, by the way. So I like the player, but Dobbs is going to be I think he's really going to immediately affect the game more than Booty. He's going to get up open more than him. He's going to have the same amount of touchdowns last year. Now he gets Drake May. Like, no offense to Jordan Love, he's a good quarterback, but you get the Drake May bump with Dobbs too. So, and Pop Douglas is awesome in the slot too, and you can play Williams in the slot. You got Raridon, you got Henry. Like this, I'm not worried at all about this offense. I think this offense, there's nothing to be worried about with the offense.
No, nothing at all. Well, I would say perhaps the left side of the offensive line, but we can leave that for another day. But I think that the only perhaps valid concern that people have brought up, and this is not usually like this is not what everyone's saying. Everyone's just spazzing out because they love Kayshon Boutte, and we love Boutte, of course, but he's just kind of an average receiver. Is that they traded him to a AFC rival who you might play in the postseason, and he made them a little bit stronger. Now, does it really matter that much? I don't think so. But if there is a valid critique of this, that would probably be it. And I don't even think it really holds water overall, to be quite honest with you, considering who the quarterback is there. And they're kind of just led by their defense, and they're going to go as far as their defense takes them, regardless of who's playing wide receiver.
That's insane to me. Like that really is kind of insane to me. Like you're a Patriots fan, you see the Texans as some sort of rival. Like first of all, your quarterback is way better. I would not be worried about this in the slide. This is not the team you look to. The team you look to is the Bills. The team you look to is the Chiefs. You're thinking about beating these types of teams, the Broncos at Mile High Stadium. You're not worried about the Houston Texans. Okay, they have a good defense. They're an all right team, but
They have a great defense.
That's not the team you worry about. You worry about the upper echelon stuff. They're not some rival. This is crazy fan talk. I cannot stand this stuff. They're like, oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe people are actually crashing out about this. It's kind of funny, but it's not funny, you know. And people People say,
Yeah.
Luke, that at this podcast, like maybe like this is how you know we're fair because people will be like, "You guys are just too mean on the team, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, you guys are too homers." So like perfectly well thought out and balanced take. Dobbs is a better player than Kashawn Booty. Okay, take that and run home with it. This is ridiculous, all of you guys.
Yeah, I think people are just kind of emotional about it, right? He had some pretty iconic plays last season, including in the playoff game against the Texans. He's also had Drake May's first touchdown pass. And you got to think about who the general Patriots fan is, right? It's just like people who get attached to the players. And so, whenever somebody who they're slightly attached to goes away, they're going to get a little bit upset. And I don't blame them, actually. I kind of wish I liked football that way. It would be so much easier, actually. Just like the casual viewing experience seems so much more relaxing to me. Perhaps it's not, but considering that these people are having heart attacks over Kayshon Boutte being removed from the team. But I guess I understand it. People have an emotional attachment to it, and that's kind of what sports are anyway. So I get it. I understand it. They're wrong, but I understand it. People can chill out. Wide receiver room is the strongest room, except for the quarterback room on this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we can talk about that now. I had a tweet today, and I was like, there's a clear tier one of wide receivers now. Because before I would have actually put Booty in there, and there'd be five of them, but now it's four. So you have Brown, you have Dobbs, you have Pop Douglas, and you have Mac Hollins. And I was actually arguing with some people today because I put Hollins on top of Douglas, and they were like, "Well, Douglas is starting in the slot, so he's above." And I was like, "Yeah, but." I kind of think I get the vibe from the Patriots that they think like Hollins is genuinely a better player and Pop is just a better slot. So Pop is a better slot receiver. Mac Hollins is overall a better receiver. That's my overall vibe, but that's your tier one of receivers. Those are the guys who are consistently with the first team. Those are the guys consistently getting passes from Drake May. And no offense to Kyle Williams, but he just really wasn't getting that. And the joint practices that we watched, it's similar to the preseason games, similar to all of Kyle
Yeah.
Williams' games, similar to Kashawn Boutte, really. It's a lot of like one catch, 70-yard touchdown, two catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, which, when he looks good, he looks awesome. And I totally agree. I think the first thing Savage came up to me at the Harp and he was like, "What? How about Kyle Williams?" And like we were just talking to practice, like, where has this guy been all day, Kyle Williams? And then all of a sudden he just shows up and has a touchdown, right? But that's the next tier is obviously Kyle Williams, your boy Ethan Chisholm, and
Yeah.
there really is a space for them to be opened up to have more plays. The receiver room is less crowded, and so like I was saying before, if you're a Kyle Williams fan, which I am by the way, like we get on to him because we have these like stupid niche Patriots fans debates, but I like his talent. I think he's a solid player that just maybe sometimes is just not on the same page as Drake May, which to his credit, we've not seen as much of that this year. Last year there was a lot of like miscommunications and interceptions in camp. At least to be fair to him, there's been I don't think many of that this summer anyway. Haven't seen any of that, but he hasn't been working with Drake as much. That's kind of confusing
That's what I
too.
was gonna say. Is he was working almost exclusively with Tommy DeVito and Morton. Um, Yeah, Brian is actually crashing out in the chat because 600 yards are now in the trash. He's obviously joking around, but there are fans who are being dead serious. They're like, you can't replace this. And actually, it's probably like the easiest position to replace is like the wide receiver four on your team. Like I said, we had seven of them 3 years ago. Um, so yeah, I mean that's legitimately what we're seeing on the timeline over and over. But I think people are just emotional.
Yeah, and to just finalize all of that, and like I said, scouting is not a difficult thing. But when you're in practice, what you consistently see is in one-on-one drills, Kyle Williams looks pretty good, and then kind of fades away when the 11-on-11 comes up. And same, I would say, same with Efton Chisholm. Really, Chisholm is most of the Patriots wide receivers, for that matter, have made a lot of plays in one-on-one, which I guess they're really supposed to. But I'm just really interested to see if Kyle Williams will become a product of that system, and he'll fit right in with Drake May. And if anything, you can just use him as like the Nate Tice calls it, like a sacrificial deep threat guy, which you do have to guard him, and that becomes useful anyway. So he's going to be at least useful in that matter. We'll just see if he catches some touchdowns, catches some passes. I really am excited and look forward to it. and we'll see. We'll see if Kyle Williams pulls it out there. But the wide receiver room is actually fairly good. But like I said, the only thing we're really looking forward to now is we just pray that there's no injuries, because if you are a Kashawn Booty stan, and I would agree with this argument, it's like you can see the part where they're like, who cares? He has no control at all. Just absolutely keep him. And if something happens to Mac Hollins, if something happens to another one of your good players, you just have Kashawn Booty to fall back on. So I do get that point of the argument.
I also think that even if you lose one of these guys, you're AJ. You lose AJ Brown, you're just kind of screwed, right? That is with or without Booty, in my opinion. You might be a little bit better off, but not much. But if you lose Mac Hollins for 4 or 5 games, you lose Pop Douglas for a few games, you lose Kyle Williams for a few. Like their depth is so crazy in that middle of the pack area that you're fine even without Booty. I really truly believe that.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all we need to say about the wide receivers, unless you got something else about them.
No, I mean I'll just leave it with this. Kayshon Boutte was a success, I would say, in terms of Patriots development. And that's something the Patriots have struggled with, obviously, for a while in terms of drafting wide receivers. I don't want to just gloss over the fact that a lot of people saw him as not even making the team as a rookie. He came out there and did some good stuff, rocking the number 80. He got in some trouble, and a lot of people thought, oh, or for previous acts that happened before he was a Patriot, and people thought, oh, he's not ever going to play another NFL snap actually because of this, and whatever he had to do behind the scenes to make things right, he did. And the past couple of seasons, he has created a probably 6 or 7 year career ahead of him, which is pretty impressive. So, and also he made big plays for the Patriots for the past 2 seasons. I don't think he helped Drake May. I think Drake May probably helped him more. But I just want to say he has a pretty good legacy with the Patriots. He was a good soldier. Did not create any issues on the way out, by the way. A lot of wide receivers would. And I liked him as a player. I will miss him as a person and as a player, actually. Just he's an easy guy to root for. So I will say best of luck to him on the Texans, unless they're playing the Patriots. I bet you he'll have a very similar stat line to what he had the past couple of years, but probably just a little bit worse because of who his quarterback is.
Yeah, my final message to Kashawn Booty, it won't be my final because we'll be talking a lot this season, but my final message about Kashawn Booty is that Luke just summed it up. He was a good Patriot. He was professional, said nothing, showed up to practice, no holdouts, no nothing, no noise, no anything whatsoever. So for that, when the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year, I want to see a plaque with Kashawn Booty's name on it at the ring ceremony. We're going to be there. Kashawn Booty's going to be there, and they're going to hand him his ring, okay? Because this guy deserves it. There's something that that kind of mentored me once said. You have to really remember the people who build the thing, that build the house, we call it. And
Yes.
that's the foundational piece of the group, which, like you just said, Booty was here during the lean times, and he was on the bench, in one of those bad years, and fought through it, started playing, had a good connection with Drake May, and for that, I think no matter what you think about his skill, he is deserving of something like that because he's an awesome Patriot and he's forever a Patriot. Okay, that's how we sum that up.
We are all Patriots.
We are all we are all Patriots. Fun fact about that: I was at that parade. I got
Oh,
lost.
really?
I missed the entire parade. I was behind. I was like following the parade behind, so I'm like lost the entire way. And I'm like looking at the clips on X or Twitter back then, and I'm like, "Are you serious right now? I'm missing all." I was right there in a good place, but I was trying to meet a friend, and there's so many phones that like you don't have service, and I just got lost. So yeah, R.I.P. to me. I could have been right. I was right there when he said that.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's sad, actually, because, there's probably some pictures there. You could have been in the background.
yeah, 100.
Patriots lore.
Yeah, seriously, 100%. I think the thing that we really didn't get to, but it's not maybe to be harped on, is the compensation, which is Reed the linebacker safety hybrid, which maybe he'll be useful for the Patriots. Our friend Dre in the chat said that he liked him as like kind of a steal of the draft, like maybe as a sleeper player. He hasn't been like
They
that
need
great.
linebacker help bad, in my
Yes,
opinion.
I
So
just I just say
anything.
play the fast guys. That's what I say. If he can play linebacker, put him in there, and that's just fine with me. So I think
Even if he's undersized, I mean, I've had enough of Chad Muma already. I think Drake Silver likes Chad Muma a lot. By the way, um, it's the compensation. This is what I think of it. Could the Patriots have gotten a fifth rounder for him maybe a month or two ago? I don't know the answer to that. I think probably not because they would have taken it. Um, but that still wouldn't have been great. And at this point, the Patriots are coming down to roster cuts, and they think Efton Chisholm is going to play special teams, something that Booty doesn't do. They think that Kyle Williams has 3 years more or 2 more years than Booty does on his contract, and he's not actually that much younger. Booty's pretty young, probably higher upside. And they're thinking we can't really afford to carry 7 wide receivers this season. We were just going to cut him, unfortunately, and they would have gotten nothing. He probably would have got picked up by the Texans anyway on the waivers, and they would have gotten nothing. At least they have an interesting player, even if he isn't any good. Who knows? He's a young, interesting player. And I mean, the seventh round pick is just another lottery ticket, right? I mean, they got Booty for a sixth, so maybe you get lucky, but it's better than nothing. They held out as long as they could, and they did right by the guy, which might actually be useful down the line when they're trying to sign a free agent who might maybe has the same agent or something like that. They know that you do right by the player, or if they draft somebody as well. So, not a big deal. I don't think that a fourth or fifth rounder was, maybe a fifth rounder was. I don't think a fourth rounder was ever out there, so I don't think they missed out on too much.
Yep, I actually totally agree. I think that's it, and we just have the preseason game to talk about, really. I think, and I was watching the preseason game, and it just suddenly hit me, Luke. They say we don't have any emotion, but look, all eyes were on the players that we stand, right? Caleb Lomu, Gabe Akins. Everyone on the timeline is talking about them, criticizing them. They're criticizing us. Savage Boston is making cut-ups. Everyone's trying to tiptoe around us getting.
Seth Main was popping champagne.
Seth Main is like, this is not good. Which, I guess we just have to really get back because we were sitting there in camp at joint practices, and the first day we kind of like all wide receivers, right, and some offensive line, but mostly wide receivers. Second day, I was like, okay, let's lock in, let's watch the practice, and I'm not going to name names, but there were some reports that it was like Will Campbell and Caleb Bloom won every rep. They were undefeated. We were looking at each other like, dude, that's not how it went. And some of the Eagles people were saying that too. And so going into the game, I was like, man, it's kind of like Lomo did put someone on the ground in joint practice, which was awesome. Campbell got turned around once, which was not good. Overall, thought like both of them were like okay, but just okay, really. Like,
yeah, they were just kind of fine, man. Yeah.
A couple bad plays, whatever. But then, so we get to the game and Lomu's starting at left tackle. I'm like, okay, this is good. Everyone was arguing that, he should not get any left tackle reps. And that's why he.
Oh. Sorry, you cut out there, but you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go.
Yeah. So, I mean, suddenly you get these reps from Caleb Lomu at left tackle. And it's like, it was good initially, and that's what I said. And it's funny, people will be like, no, he wasn't good, he sucked. Like, you did get a couple good reps, and then eventually it was like, not so good. And him and Akis, same thing. It was like, it was okay, average stuff, right? And
yeah.
So we do have the motion because this is what we get. We get our players, all the eyes on them.
You're right. And I mean, the preseason game specifically, my kind of what I saw, right? Lomu messed up on, I think it was a stunt, and I'm just like, that. You said it. You've said it a million times. Like, that just seems like a Doug Marrone problem, not a Caleb Lomu problem. When he was just one-on-one, he was handling business. He was finishing plays. Our friend Jeff Matt was mentioning that in the chat because someone on Twitter was actually calling him out for just like looking sloppy out there. And when it was one on one, he was finishing plays. It was just fine. I actually would feel pretty confident with him out there. The play that like went semi viral was just like some duo action the Eagles ran, and the left guard, I forget who that was. It might have been Hudson, or was he playing right guard? Doesn't matter. Just like completely flopped, and then Lomu was just left there like, what am I supposed to do here? Block two people? I just kind of thought that was a missing, like they weren't communicating correctly, and I feel like that's more of a coaching problem. You were mentioning something about that in the chat a little bit, and then Akis was just like fast. There was one play on the touchdown that he just like whiffed on a tackle. He was just too. He honestly just looked like he went too quickly. Maybe his body was going faster than his mind on that play. But I will say, like, it is promising that he looks physically gifted compared to some of those linemen out there. Now, he maybe wasn't making all the right decisions or getting a little bit mixed up on run versus pass plays. There, right at the start, there was a play that he fell for a play action, and then he ended up sprinting across the field to force a Andy Dalton incompletion, even though he misinterpreted the play. He was so fast. Now Jalen Hurts would be fast enough to get the edge, right? But it just displayed his quickness on that play. So I'm not too worried about him. Either guy, actually. Uh, I thought both of them they showed flashes and in a preseason game and limited snaps without actually scheming anything up. I thought that looked pretty good.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, and it's funny. Our friend Joe is like, Bryson is a shill, but he knows ball. Okay, Joe, yeah, I see you. You get it. But yeah, we've actually talked about this, and we try to like these players because it's fun, to invest early in on them. It's just like kind of a meme, and it's funny. I heart Gabe Akis, I heart Caleb Leno. But when I look at Akis, the thing that does concern me about him is he looks pretty stiff, and I've always said like he's not gonna have like this left right insane pass rusher type of skill. But what he is particularly good at is just being strong and somewhat fast. That's what I would probably say. So we were talking, is the move to just be like, this guy's Trey Flowers, let's put him inside? Because when you're outside like Gabe Akis, I think you're gonna find he's gonna have a hard time to beat a lot of these left tackle and right tackles. Just from pure bull rush. Is it likely that he's gonna win a lot of those? I would say probably not. But could you put him on a guard? Could you put him on one of these guards and just say, hey, just push him all the way back into the quarterback? I think the answer is probably actually yes. And so I would advocate that Gabe Akins.
I would take Trey Flowers, man. I
Yeah,
would take Trey
exactly.
Flowers.
I would too, and it's kind of a shame that the Patriots defense has changed a little bit. But maybe on some of these third downs, you're just like, you know what? Let's put Akis on a guard, and you have like, I actually like the idea of just having like Milton Williams, Barmore, and Akis, and some other people in there. Jones too as well. Just make your line. If you're gonna do anything, just make your strength and the absolute biggest strength of all, which is extremely large, powerful guys that maybe aren't that fast. Just throw them all in there and just see what happens. Just completely, hey Yakis, just go get the quarterback. There's no left to right. Just push your guard into the quarterback. That's all you need. I think that's what, if fans have the idea like Gabe Akis is going to be like this insane guy, he's going to start dropping back in coverage. He's going to start like left to right swim move, pass rush. I don't really think that's going to happen this year. But what could happen this year is the edge setting. What could happen is the rushing from the inside. If we don't get that, I'm afraid we will not get anything. Okay.
Well, I would say you may be in luck. The Patriots let they did let Keishon Boutte go. They let Kayvon Chason go for that exact reason. He doesn't really set the edge too well. And they brought in Draymond Jones, who that's kind of his specialty. Now, I don't think Draymond Jones is actually that good, but if you're looking at what he does well, it's set the edge, and that kind of allows the Patriots' strengths, which is really inside, like you mentioned. Their best defensive linemen are the inside guys, and if Atkins can take advantage of that as well, That's fine. I worry about the other side, the other side of the line with Harold Landry. I think they were hoping Gabe Akis can kind of take that over long term, and maybe he will. But I see what you're seeing. I honestly hope that he can do a little bit more on the outside long term. I would be a little disappointed if he just got pushed inside all the time for a second rounder, considering his physical attributes. I think I'm just craving a like 14 sack player, and so maybe I'm uh, putting these hopes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pressures matter. I get it. Blah blah blah. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but um,
No, no, it was not.
no.
Everyone else gets it, but it's okay.
Oh, okay, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But so maybe I'm putting the expectations on him that just aren't there. And if he's a perfectly fine Trey Flowers, I'll accept that. I would be happy with that. Trey Flowers is a good player for the team.
Yep. I think that's really the extent of the preseason of what we saw anyway. And I think the other thing that was funny is Behringer suddenly hurt, right? Am I wrong about this?
Yes, they brought
Okay.
in Mad Heck or Hack.
Okay, let me give you guys some inside baseball. I'm not sure if it was day one. I think it was day one. So we're sitting there watching the punters, and we're like, "Gosh, this is awful. I hate watching the punters." And Behringer just, I'm not going to comment on what he looked like, but he's punting a bunch of balls, and there's this ball boy on the other side of the field not paying attention, and he either got I don't know if he got hit, but
It
or
was super close. He
it
didn't
was
get hit.
super close. And so after that, it was weird because we Behringer, I thought he was laughing. He was like bent over afterwards, like, and everyone was like kind of around him. I thought he was
Wait, do you think he
laughing.
got hurt on that?
I'm actually, now that I think about it, I think he was actually hurt. I'm not sure what happened, but initially I thought he's
Mm.
laughing, and everyone was kind of coming up to him. But it's funny because after that, we couldn't see in any moment where he would have gotten hurt. So I think, actually, funny enough, I think if I had to guess, this is probably where he got hurt. And the ball boy's like, "Yes, I hate that guy, Behringer. He's making me pick up his footballs. He's hitting me with footballs. This is terrible. I hate this guy." And suddenly, they've got this quarterback that can punt now, which is absolutely hilarious. You know what my solution to this punter thing is? It wouldn't
Go
be
for it.
sign it wouldn't be sign another punter. Okay, I would be like, okay, we're playing Madden this week. We don't care.
Yes.
We're literally playing Madden this week. Like, we don't care. Imagine, seriously, just let's think about this. Imagine you're the opposing team. What are you more scared of? The Patriots with their mid punter, or if the Patriots came out and were like, no, actually, every down is a down that we're going to use. You will literally have to take downs from us because we're not giving you the ball freely. We will never give you the ball unless we're kicking off. We're just not giving the ball. Drake May has 4 downs every single play, and your defense is going to get tired, and we're going to run A.J. Brown and Raridon and all these huge guys at you all day long until you absolutely give up. I think that's more scary. Now, Vrabel is not going to do that. He's going to play favorable ball, but listen, he went for it a lot last year. Just embrace it. Just absolutely
Yes.
embrace it.
I was gonna say
Take the
I
punter
didn't
and
want
get
to
him out.
defend him, but I didn't want to defend him too much. But like he surprised me last season with how much he went for it on fourth down.
I think you have to when you have a quarterback that good, right? So I
Yeah.
just seriously think, like, who cares about be the first team to do it. Be the first team to say, you know what, punters and kickers, you're not people. Get off the field right now. The men are playing football.
It's
Okay.
kind of what the Eagles did a couple of years ago, and also in 2022. They just went for it. I mean, because they had the tush push, of course. But you have a play, whatever is your go-to play, and just do it over and over again.
Yeah, just double the amount of third down plays you have, right? On
Yeah.
the call sheet, just double the amount of third downs. Whatever you got to do, just absolutely do it. Just go for it every single time. And I think that would create a fun amount of pressure on the team. And I don't think that Drake May is the type of quarterback to just start throwing a million interceptions, because I think that would actually create a positive result. So I actually really want to see this now. Just get rid of the punter altogether.
Hey, I'm all for it. I hate punting. There's not no worse feeling as a fan than when your punter runs out in the field. Am I right? Like I can't think of a worse feeling.
No, there's nothing like, and the other team's like, Drake May is off the field.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
funniest part about football sometimes. It's like when everyone plays Madden, we all inherently get it, like we're not punting the football. But when the football players go on the field, the other team's like, oh my gosh, thank gosh Drake May is running off the field right now. But when you're
Yes.
playing Peyton Manning, or you're playing these elite quarterbacks, and you know that all game long they're just going to go for it. Like, remember that Eagles Super Bowl when the Eagles were like, we're actually just going to go for it all the time? That was
Yep.
not good. That was not a good feeling. And I can imagine that if you're on the sideline, you're feeling the same exact feelings, which I want to inflict upon other teams.
Yes. Yeah, I think about that. Now you have me thinking. Every single time it's like 4th and 2, and you're just like waiting for the camera to pan to see if the punt team comes on for the other team, and you're so relieved when it happens. You're like, oh, thank God. Uh, they're usually like on the 40 of their own on their own side of the field, and you're just like, are they gonna go for it? And then they don't, and you're like, thank God. I'm very happy for this because especially teams with good quarterbacks, they're going to be over 50% on those fourth down plays, right? So those fourth and short ones. Think about Josh Allen. He's just going to run for it every single time on 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Drake May could do the same exact thing. So I mean, the Patriots, to their credit, did that a lot last season. So let's just do that, but more. Be more aggressive. And also, if you know you're going to go for it on 4th down a lot, that opens up your playbook on the other downs, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I've got some actual bad news now because the guy who said that Drake May was just Mac Jones 2.0, which is Dakota and Braintree, which is like a very niche Patriot sport fandom guy to know, just had a tweet about Jalen Reed, and he was like, he's just absolutely hyping him up right now, and he's awesome and stuff like that. He's like, I absolutely love him. He's talking about his PFF grade in college and stuff like that. So now I'm thinking it's never been more over, guys. It's
Yeah,
actually never been more over.
might need to ship that guy off to the Jets ASAP.
Get this guy out of here. Absolutely get him out of here.
They don't have like the yeah, they traded for him, so they don't have to keep him on the roster technically. He might not even make the team. Who knows? They didn't pick
Yes,
him up waivers, so they don't have to put him on the 53.
absolutely, man. I think we've got all the football covered. Someone was mentioning about the running backs getting hurt, because Henderson rolled his ankle. But
Kiko.
yeah, I'm not particularly ever concerned about running backs. I just am not. I do like Mondre when he's not fumbling, and I just think that you can get enough from your second running back. And Henderson is like a big play kind of guy. You know what? I'm the kind of guy when you say my running back is hurt, we have a problem. I'm the kind of guy that goes, my running back is hurt. This has never been so awesome. Now I'm just going to throw the
Yes.
ball all the time. I'm literally just going to throw the ball way more. This is awesome. I think I did one of these things earlier this year, and it was the most insane thing I've done on the internet probably. I literally went on Grok or ChatGPT, one of them. I can't remember now which one. And I was like, okay, I'm going to simulate a season with the Patriots. And I want you to be, as realistic as possible. I want you to tell me the win rates of the Patriots when they pass at this much and this much. Tell me the success rates. And I think we got it to like it was like we got it to 70%, and at 70% it starts not being as good. But like at 66%, 67%, which I think is much higher than normal teams do, it was absolutely cooking. Like it was like all-time offense. And I was like, you know what? Let's figure that out. Henderson, you're out. Damn, that's terrible, right? Okay. Anyway, 11 personnel, everyone 5 wide. Let's do that.
Yeah, it's like let's just snow plow the running backs off the field and just let Drake May cook.
Yeah, 100%. So
Also, did you? I was watching, like we were watching the preseason game. In the first play, the Eagles running back who was playing special teams goes down, and they pan to him, and was it off or like his leg was just snapped in half, and then they never mentioned what exactly what his injury. He snapped his leg in half, right?
yeah, I think after what was that guy's name? Kevin Ware, member from
Yeah,
Louisville.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
he
like
had
the
like
same
he
same
had
thing.
like a very horrid injury, and they just kept panning to it. And I'm the kind of guy, like, I'll actually watch someone get their bicep reattached on the internet on YouTube. But
I don't like it.
if you show me someone rolling their ankle, I will literally turn away and
Yeah.
throw up. I don't want to see that at all. So I think that's what they're actually doing now. Is they're just anytime someone gets in
Yeah.
the ambulance or whatever, they just act like he's not even there. They're like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that guy's leg is ground beef. Anyway, next
Here's
play.
72 McCourties. There's 72 McCourty twins at this point. I swear to
Yeah,
God, they're
it's
everywhere.
it's kind
They're,
of
it's all twins. It's like the Kelsey twins and the McCourty twins. They're just everywhere. Like the Barbers, Tiki Barber and Rondé Barber. if you are a brother in the NFL, you will have a multi-million-dollar TV deal when you retire. It's just they love the brothers. And I think it's because they're just like very interchangeable. Just one can't show up, just slide the other one right in. They're gonna have like the same exact feelings.
Nope, nope. I think that's it for the football stuff, Luke. Luke and I, we spent some time this week, and now Luke is ready to tell everyone that I'm the absolutely worst person of all time. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of this guy. Luke was getting mad. I
Yeah,
will.
Bryson and I spent the week or half the week together at joint practices, and that was the first time I met Bryson in person. And yeah, he's borderline psychopath, man. He just stares at you. He doesn't really talk too much. We stood in line for 2 hours in the front of the line and didn't say a word. He was just staring down. He was mad that little kids were playing football on the side. He wanted to break. He was trying to break up every single little kid fight. He wanted to
Whoa,
put. He wanted to put them in a rear naked choke.
whoa!
Yeah, yeah. It was
What? All
no,
right,
no.
listen, ladies and gentlemen. You know what the truth is? We're watching these youngsters play football, and I'm like, it's the only entertainment you have, so you're watching them. And everyone else is like standing in line, being just, I don't even want to say what they're being like, but, and so all of a sudden, these kids are like, at that age, I'm like not even saying like bad words. They're saying bad words, and I'm like, what is going on right now? And the next thing, Luke is not paying attention, and the next thing you know, one of them starts saying the F word and pushing each other. And the next thing you know, like they're like getting up, and I'm like the only one watching. I'm like, I look at Luke, I'm like, should we break this up? And then I'm like, okay, no, there's no shot we're breaking this up, right? And he's like, no, we're not. I'm like, okay, cool. That's it for me. I'm not doing anything about this. So that was
Yeah.
it.
No. No, no. Bryson, it was a good time. We had obviously a great time. It was Jake came the second day. He was a little weird. Uh, no, but honestly, that was such a great experience. That was the first time I ever went to joint practices. Anybody who has not gone to those, I highly recommend it. Just because first off, you're like 35 yards away from the players, and you will never be closer to the players than you are there, even if you are front row at a football game in Gillette Stadium, because you're at the practice field, right? The only thing standing between you is like you and the players is like an obese cop and a little rope. Not not that you should ever jump on the field, but that's how close you are to them. And in the joint practices, they treat that more like a game. You are watching NFL football, a real regular season game, not a preseason game, and it's right in front of you. You'll never get a better view, and you learn so much. It was. I highly recommend it. I am going to call out Robert Kraft. Can we put some sunshades above the bleachers? It will cost you like $20,000, man. It wasn't even hot out, but you're sitting on metal bleachers, just blistering sweat, burning yourself. Like all you need is to put a little tarp over the benches, and everyone would live in like a virtual like perfect world at that point.
Man,
It was
you're so right about that, because after the first day, I got so particularly sunburned in like my quads, which they don't
yes,
ever get
yep.
sunburned. And I'm like, I actually was thinking the night before, I was like, what would Luke say if I just said I can't go to practice because I just don't want to get sunburned again? And I was like, nah, I'll just go full sleeves or whatever and just go out and it'll be just fine. But yeah, absolutely. Why would you like? I feel like that's such a hack to have like an indoor outdoor stadium practice field where you maybe could be indoor, maybe just like a dome, something where at least there's shade and cover or something like that. But no, of course, I understand you have to have an indoor practice field, but can we not have somewhere where like the fans can just have a good experience? Like, why do all the fans have to just sit outside while Jeffrey Lurie is showing up in his helicopter 1 minute before practice, literally with air conditioner probably, and we're all just like all like packed in like a can of sardines
Yeah,
next
he's
to each other?
probably looking at us. He's like these idiots.
And then you're hot, you're absolutely burning at like 9:30 in the morning, and the next thing you hear is this guy from the Patriots with the mic, and he's like, all right, Patriots fans, let's hear it. And it's just like, dude, if you don't step away from that mic, I'm gonna lose my mind right now. I'm absolutely frying. And okay, let's do the 10 trivia questions. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally my worst nightmare in order.
And of course, he had to do the classic. That's not loud enough
uh,
every single time,
oh
and
my
it,
gosh.
it's if you are like one of those hype men for anything, like is that just like built into your contract that you have to do that? You have to say, "Let's get loud," and no matter how loud the crowd is, you have to say that's not loud enough.
Oh my God.
Like it's every single time. It drives me insane. We're just like sitting there like I'm my shirt is just all sweat at this point. I'm miserable in terms of like, just can we get practice going? Like, we already stood in line for an hour and a half. Now we have to wait another hour till practice starts, and we have this like absolute weenie. He's probably listening, and he's gonna get really angry. But uh, a bit of advice to them is don't do that anymore. It's a little played out. That was played out like 30 years ago. Come up with some new material. It's like a comedian who just does the same material over and over again. The script doesn't work anymore. It's 2026. It's not 1996. It's also like hotter than it is in 1996. So like, let's get a little bit of shade. Also, Kraft has a lot more money than he did in 1996. That's 20 grand, man. Like that is pocket change, like for these guys. Just put up a little shade for us. We do have Drake in the chat here. He's saying what we're saying. Patriots fans, where you at? I can't hear you.
Listen, I was actually worried because, my mom listens to the podcast. He's gonna know what I'm saying is true. I was worried as I was sitting there that Luke was gonna be like, "Dude, Bryson, stand up. What are you doing?" Because I'm the opposite of that. Like, I will literally, I hate to be like that, but I'm like that. Like,
Me too.
I was at this place. I was at a conference and they were doing things and they were going around the room and they're like, "No, you're gonna do this," and I won't get into the details, but you're gonna have to do this and you have to do this, and everyone's like raring to go, and I was like, I'm like, I'm literally not doing this, and they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm literally not doing this. I don't want to do it. It's unnecessary. I'm not doing it," and so they're like, I'm like, I'm worried they're gonna yell at me. They're like, "Okay, you can go in the back if you want." I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'm not doing it." And so I just left. And that's like, I will literally just leave. I will just like, I will pull up to the gym. There will be too many people at the gym, and I'm like, not doing it. See ya, goodbye. Best excuse ever. Good. See ya. That's me.
The Patriots hype guy was like legitimately one step away from going around the bleachers and asking everybody to do like an icebreaker. You know what I mean? It's like, tell us a
Hey
fun fact
everybody,
about,
what's your favorite
yeah,
color?
what's your favorite color? Like, where did you go to college? What was your major? It's like the word you're just gonna pass around like that plastic ball that expands when you throw it and then contracts, and whoever catches it has to do an icebreaker. They should like let's come up with some new material, man. And then the cheerleaders come out, and it's like four of them, and they just do an awkward dance in front of you, just like everyone just staring at them do an awkward dance. And it's only four of them. It's not a full routine. And then everyone just like awkwardly claps. And by the way, after they do this, there's still like 40 minutes until practice even starts. It wasn't even full entertainment. For those who don't know, you get inside the practice facility 1 hour before practice starts. So then they give you 20 minutes of entertainment and no shade, and then you're just sitting there and you're like watching Efton Chisholm like do tennis ball drills on the ground, which is interesting, I guess, the first day. And Robert Spillane running wide receiver routes, and that's it.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
that end of rants. I need somebody else to be in charge of the entertainment at the Patriots practices. Uh, it's just a little dull. We need shade. We're all mad. It's like being in a Disney World line. That's what it was. We were in a Disney World line, but the queue isn't cool. It's just concrete. At least the queues are cool at Disneyland.
yeah, 100%. Babs could get it going there. And we
Yes,
saw Babs at the Harp. We get up to the Harp.
Babs is a cool dude. I like him a lot, man.
We met Babs. We won't say who we called on the phone, but Babs made some phone calls in front of us. It was pretty funny. And then, we got to see Luke and Drake Silver get on the podcast there, which was, pretty cool with all the LFG podcast guys, the Foxborough Fellas guys, Savage Boston, Fitzy. I did think the funniest thing was, I've known Fitzy forever, and I call him Uncle Fitzy and always have. And I'm in like my sun hat. I'm in all black. You really can't tell who I am. And he hasn't seen me in a while either. He probably wasn't expecting me there. And he comes up to me and he's like, so who are you? And he looks at me, he's like, oh wait, you're Bryson. And then he just like gave me the biggest hug ever, which is, awesome. I love Fitzy. So it was cool seeing that. And then, Luke and Drake Silver, they get on the podcast, and I was very happy for him. But I was, I'm listening to the podcast. I'm driving home. I'm listening to the podcast. I'm getting triggered. I'm like, dude, there's no way that Eagles fans just crashed the podcast right now. There's no responding to this. There's no, that's just it. Come
Well,
on.
let's talk about it for a second. And first off, like, thank you, Savage, the LFG guys, and Fanatics, by the way, for having us on. That was amazing. But the way it was a joint pod, so everybody just kind of got slotted in and out. There was former players, Tully Bantakane, for example, and he took a picture with us, and he was a really nice guy, by the way. So really important people were on this podcast. Jerry Thornton was there. Um, and so we get on there, and it's like Babs is running the show, by the way, excellent. And he's like, "You guys got 15 minutes, go." And so Drake and I are like, "All right, like we want to give a little spiel." And it was we sit down, and there's only two mics because there was some technical errors, which is okay. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it caused major issues on the second half of our appearance. So I get on there and I'm talking about how every Eagles fan there was like Mr. and Mrs. Accessory. Like they had like a Transformers hat or helmet, like a full helmet. One guy was like wearing full pads. One guy was wearing a full helmet with a visor. A woman with like Eagles wings. I'm just like, you guys are actually doing too much. You are 45 years old, and you traveled up to Boston for this, which is great. We're happy you're there, and you're just like, I need attention. There's like the guy with the big hat, like the foam in the hat, and his hat is like this big, and he's like 47 years old. Um, and so I called this out on the podcast. I hand it over to Drake, and he kind of goes on about, yeah, like how the Eagle fans are degenerates, and with that, they had the podcast going on in the biggest screen in the Harp, and all the Eagles fans who were in there were like, "Oh, we heard degenerate," and they got so triggered. Like, I think Eagles fans do not like that word, and this like roided out Eagles fan and all the Mr. and Mrs. Accessories come out and they just crash the podcast. And at this point, the microphone is like taken away from us. And to be honest, like I was just playing it cool. Drake was playing it cool. It wasn't our podcast at the end. Like it was our podcast, but it was a joint podcast. Like if it was just our podcast, it would be a slightly different story. But we're just trying to be respectful. We're happy to be there. Um, the microphone's not. We no longer have the access to this microphone really, and all these Eagle fans are just huddling around us. And I'm just like, I wish I said like, you guys actually are exactly what we just described. But instead, it got into a discussion about like, would you rather have Drake May or Jalen Hurts? And I'm just like, this is not what we were signing up for. And then Bryson's traveling on the road to hell back home. He had an interesting experience on his travels back, and he's probably you were probably just like really excited to hear the Title Talk guys go on there and kind of discuss what we were seeing. And instead, you got whatever that was, which was still interesting, and I'm happy to have done that, and I can't wait to do it more. But it just wasn't what I was expecting. And Eagles fans, you are degenerates, and you kind of just exactly what we described is what you just showed.
Yeah, it was very not good. Trying to listen to it on the way home, and like Luke was saying, I am not a big city guy. All right, as you can tell probably from my voice, people say maybe you can hear the accent, but I'm a small town guy. I'm a true blue collar guy. All right, so I'm driving through all these big cities, which is fine. Yeah, that's cool with me. I'm well traveled. I've been across the world. I've been to Australia. I've been to many places, but I'm very uncomfortable in the big cities. Just that many people. I think I even told Luke, I was like, I'm not really used to being around this many people. This is very weird, actually. It's just been a while. And so, yeah, I'm driving and I get rerouted because I'm stuck in traffic. I already had like an insane drive or whatever. And suddenly, next thing you know, I'm in the middle of Central Park. I'm in the Bronx. Okay, I am in the Bronx. Literally, I'm like, where am I? I'm in the Bronx. Oh, this is great. And I went from bumper to bumper traffic, stop traffic, to bumper stop traffic, and And people were yelling at me. I don't know what to do. People were cutting me off and trying to get in my lane. I'm just letting them because I'm like, sure, go ahead. And people are beeping at me for it, I guess. I don't know. So I was just having a really bad time.
Just quick shout out to Joe from LFG. Pat's Pod is in the chat saying that we owned Philly, and yes, we did. I just wanted to just give him a shout out before. Go, keep going. You're bumper to bumper traffic.
Absolutely, man. Like you guys dominated the Philly. You know what? Honestly, the story. I was in traffic. It wasn't fun. That's a story. But honestly, the Philly fans they don't really like the back and forth. They act like they do, but earlier this year when I said every AJ Brown catch, every touchdown, every pass, every win, we're going to be right there. We're going to be talking to you. And then they're like, oh, no, you're obsessed. And it's like, this was you for months. So now it's your turn. So now when we do it, they're like, this guy's obsessed with the Eagles. It's like, no, actually, I probably didn't even say like 2 words about the Eagles since like the last Super Bowl when the Patriots played. And now I'm going to, like, all the time because you guys just decided every day. And, like, at first it wasn't even about Eagles fans. Like, at first it was just like, A.J. Brown, we would talk about A.J. Brown or whatever. We would talk about A.J. Brown coming to the Patriots, and they would just, like, infiltrate and just assert themselves in there. And then it became, like, then it started getting weird, and then they started talking about Drake May, and then, like, Patriots fans were defending themselves. And then suddenly I never talk about Jalen Hurts, and I'm, like, talking about Jalen Hurts suddenly. So
yeah.
Now I'm just, like, resigned to the fact that we're all just going to, like, every day for the rest of our lives be talking about Eagles fans, which is, fine with me. They obviously enjoy it because they're getting interaction out of it. But like the worst part about Eagles fans that we said is like they don't get satire. And it's like I don't know what to do with that because like we'll post a picture of Tom Brady and Drake May and like combine their touchdowns and say like they have more than Jalen Hurts. And instead of being like, oh, okay, I get it, they could even be like, oh, actually, that's like kind of cool for Jalen Hurts because obviously he has more than Drake May. But instead they're like, no, you actually don't understand. You have to use a graphic just to show that it's like, dude, whoa, you need to slow down, man.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Like and so I imagine it's not going to be every day because I don't know how much longer I can handle that, to be honest with you guys.
Let's I will say, I want Patriots fans to defend Drake May like Eagles fans defend Jalen Hurts.
Yes,
because Drake May actually deserves it.
Yes, Eagles fans are good for that. And I honestly, Eagles fans, if you're listening to this, I respect you guys for doing that. Like, I respect the all-out banter, the all-out attitude, like Lucas saying. Like, they completely go hard. I just want us to be like that too, okay? I'm a little jealous.
And we can be a little smart about it too, right? Like it doesn't have to just be like dumbassery defense. Like we have the facts to back it up. But your immediate like guttural reaction to anybody saying anything bad about Drake May should be to jump down their throat. But let's do it in a smart way, right? Like but some people will be like, oh well, here it's kind of nuanced. Like actually, like here's some context. Like no, like let's jump down their throats.
Yeah. So they make it worse, but I do really do enjoy the banter. So I was glad to see that you guys kind of bucked up with the Eagles fans there, but I just really wish that maybe at another time we'll be able to have like a proper debate with them and just completely expose them. But that's fine. I don't hate them. I
was waiting for that the big guy to just like send Drake through the table, but didn't happen. They were actually quite nice, but he could have done it. That was a perfect wrestling table. I was just like, this could be a perfect like let's put some tacks down, maybe set it on fire. Send Drake Silver through the table before he goes home.
Damn, Drake Silver to the moon. We love to see that, man. Yeah, I think that's actually wraps it up for us. So, thank you guys for coming here. Anything else you want to say, Luke?
No, I was actually really, really happy with how it turned out at Joints. And I think the Kayshon Boutte trade was just a long time coming. Wish the best for him. And I'm kind of just excited for the season. I can't wait for it to start. That's about it, though.
100%. So thank you, guys. We'll probably catch you with an episode live on Thursday. So we'll see you guys then.
See you.